Yo, what is good, YouTube? It is your boy James, and today I'm coming at y'all with a video that I've been wanting to do for a little bit. I was gonna do a Donovan Mitchell trade video by itself, but today I have 6 trades that I would like to see before the start of the next NBA season. Um, so I have 4 that I'm pretty confident in, and then I have 2 that I don't feel so great about, but I think that are interesting. I would say one, and it involves my favorite team. But the first trade I have is the Cam Reddish to the Trailblazers trade. I think Cam Reddish's time in New York is definitely done. Um, and when I look at the Trailblazers roster with Cam Reddish, although also I have a lot of tabs open, I've never done this before, so I hope my shit doesn't freeze, delayed shit itself. But we'll hope. So when you look at this team, I think without Cam Reddish, you're kind of missing, like, you're missing 2 spots on the bench. And for some reason, I feel like I'm missing someone. But also, when you have a Cam Reddish trade, first off, you'll have the money to pay him because they'll have to pay Grant and then Reddish, but they still have the money to do that. But I think this is a team that you can bank on some upside because I don't think this is the best team in the world. I do think it's a much improved team, but you have guys like Simons, Shaden Sharp, and Cam Reddish and Nazir Little. Those are 4 young guys that you can at least tell yourself you think can take leaps to get better. And I think that's always important for teams who, like, I don't think this team can make a run, but teams that are a play-in team, I think they'll probably win a play-in game and make the playoffs. But playoff teams that are kind of stuck, I think at least you need to have guys that you can be somewhat confident that can take steps and get better. So for the future, your team can continue to progress. So I think this trade does that. You would go Dame, Simons, Hart, Jeremy Grant, Nurkic. I'm not very high on Nurkic. I think Gary Payton, Shaden Sharp, Cam Reddish, Nazir Little. Like I said, for some reason I feel like I'm forgetting a guard. And if I am, I'm sorry. And then the backup center role, I think they need to get someone that complements Nurk. So Hassan Whiteside, I think, just should be a Blazer already. Dwight Howard, if he's going to play again. And then Jakob Poeltl, who I have for a different trade. So this one, nothing too serious, but I think Cam Reddish is on his way out. And I think that bench could have guys with upside, another good defender, which they've made a priority this offseason. And then for the Knicks, you're just getting a second and a lottery protected first. That first I would probably make like top 18 protected, but that isn't an option on the site. But that would probably be a pick that like you're low key not going to get. But I think that's sucks to say probably around Cam Reddish's value right now. So yeah, this is a trade, like I said, not super impactful, but I've said some crazy things about the Blazers that I probably don't agree with anymore. But I like this Blazers team, and I think bringing in a guy like Cam Reddish, like I said, at least you can tell yourself that you have young guys that you think you can progress, and you'll have money to pay him. So that's my first trade. The second trade is the long-awaiting Donovan Mitchell trade. Now, this package, to me, I think some people might even think it's too much or too little. But for me, I think this is about what it's going to be. Some people want Randall in the deal. I don't think. First off, I think the Knicks are probably going to keep him around because they want to be as good as possible next year. And also, I just think that the Jazz are a team that you can probably convince that they can use Fournier in more ways than Randall, just because he can play off of anyone in the league. And then for me, I think a package starts with Toppin and Quickly. I don't think you get a Donovan Mitchell trade done without Toppin and Quickly. And I think for the Jazz, this is a pretty good package. I'm not going to lie, for the picks, I just threw a whole bunch of random ones in, but you're going to need 5 or 6. But I do think this trade will happen, and I just think you could, argue it should be Randall. They should throw in Grimes, someone else. But for me, I think the Jazz are tuned in on 2 people, and that's Obi Toppin and Quickly, and then matching the salaries and getting their picks. So for me, like I said, some people might think this is a little too much just between Toppin and Quickly, and some people might think this isn't enough for the Jazz. But for me, like I said, you're getting Obi Toppin and Quickly. Did I make a lineup for the Knicks? I did. Like I said, I hope this doesn't lag, but here you're kind of lacking at these spots now, but you've got Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, which is a very good lineup, and then Derrick Rose, Quentin Grimes. These spots are interesting. Maybe you bring back Melo, and then Isaiah Hartenstein, who was very good last year. So I like this. Like I said, Some people might not like it, some people might like it, but I think it all starts with Toppin and Quickly, and I think if those two are in the package with the picks that the Jazz think they should get, I think that's a done deal in my opinion. So the next one is the long-awaiting Russell Westbrook trade as well. Now, for me, as a Clippers fan, I've been pretty harsh on the Lakers, but I did make a tweet, and I think that, oh, fuck. I think if, that doesn't really matter, but I think if they get this trade done, they're very scary. Now, I think no matter what move they make, there's still a 1A and a 1B between the Clippers and Warriors, and that's just my opinion. You can probably argue the Lakers. But they've got a lineup of Pat Bev, Buddy Hield, Braun, AD, Miles Turner, and to me that's a very free flowing starting lineup. And then you've got Nunn, Reeves, JTA, Bryant, and Jones. Now the only thing that concerns me is I actually like the Nunns in Nunn and Reeves backcourt coming off the bench. But like I'm not a very high JTA guy. I don't really mind Damian Jones, but I don't think he's that good. So I just kind of think that wing defense coming off the bench could be a little concerning if you're going to roll O'Brien at the 4. But at the same time, you're getting so much better that you don't worry about that. You can figure that out next year at a later time. Now, the only thing I can say with this trade, and I've mentioned it before, first off, the 2 second-round picks have to be in this trade. I'm sorry. And if you're a Lakers fan that doesn't want to give up both of them, I can understand where you're coming from, but like you're getting 2 very good players. And the only thing I'm going to say here is I don't think that the Pacers might be as lenient to trade Turner as some people might think, just because he's expressed interest in playing with Halliburton. He's only 26 or 27, and you never really gave him a fair chance with a Sabonis backcourt. So I think that in their mind, they might be able to think with a better ball handler and playmaker like Halliburton, and then not having to play another center. Maybe that's enough for them to at least maybe give him a year and then ink him, or just give him a fair extension now. Because I do think, now do I think Miles Turner is a 20-point per game scorer? No, but I think his scoring was a little more inconsistent with Sabonis. So I think there is a way that the Pacers aren't super interested in giving up Turner, but also when you get the chance to clear 40 mil in expiring money and add 2 first-round picks for probably the worst team in the East next year, that might be intriguing enough. And like I said, I'm not saying that this trade wouldn't happen because of Turner, but I do think that there is a route that they might not be as hesitant to give up Turner like some people might think. But the next one might have got spoiled a little bit. That's Bogdan to the Heat. Now, I kind of had a hard time gauging his value, but I think the Heat are really missing a 4. I talked about it in my video. And I think that this gives them that. Like I said, sometimes I think that I would like a little more offense there because I think that starting lineup is very good defensively. And I think bringing in a guy like Bojan, I always get him and the Hawks guy mixed up. So if I'm saying his name wrong, I'm sorry. But I think that gives them a very competent 4 that can spread the floor. And I do think he plays well between Jimmy and Bam, their play styles. So I like this trade. Now, the reason I did include the first round pick is just because you're taking on 4 years of Duncan. So I think that you're going to have to attach some sort of asset to get that done. Now, if the Heat are willing to do that for a 1-year rental, I don't know. But at the end of next year, you would have another $15 million if you don't want to keep Bojan to then spend. So I think this is pretty fair. That pick, like again, it might be lottery, top 15, 18, one of those picks. But I think a top 10 projected pick to the Jazz in the future would entice them to take on a salary like Duncan, especially if they're going to move Donovan Mitchell. Now, having 35 mils in Duncan and Fournier kind of sucks, but also at the same time, no disrespect, no one's going to come play for the Jazz. So I think in a rebuilding stage, they're willing to take on 2 shooters who Duncan still has a little bit of upside to add on more picks there. So the next one I have, this is the one that I was kind of just like, and that is the Collin Sexton sign and trade. I think he will be a Maverick. I just have a hard time figuring out who's going to go back. Because for me, in this sense, I really don't think the Cavs are interested in taking back a guy like Tim Hardaway or a guy like I don't think they're willing to take on extra salary. I think they're very focused on Garland, Mobley, and Allen, and they still have to pay Mobley at some point. So I think for them, it's just about recouping some assets. And here I have 2 firsts. I don't think it'll be that, but just recouping some firsts that they can move and money that has the least amount of years on it, so they can have cap flexibility to add to that big 3. So, like I said, for me, I don't think this is what would happen, but I think a lot of people say, "Oh, Tim Hardaway, another guy I can't think of who's under contract." I think it's just how can we shed this money and get some assets back for Collin Sexton, who we're not very interested in having anymore. So for me, like I said, just a first. I think there might have to be one unprotected first in here. I don't know because I'm still kind of high on Sexton, and I think he's a good fit in Dallas. But like I said, I don't think they wanted Tim Hardaway. They have Karras. And like I said, shed money and get some assets. And I don't have a lineup, but the last one I have, this is my favorite team, and I find it kind of interesting. I don't like if you're a Spurs fan and you tell me that you would never do this in your life, I think it's fair. I just kind of went to the lab and was like, what Clippers trade could I make that I think makes them better for this video because I'm interested in that. And I think this one significantly does. Now, can the Spurs, are they convinced that they can go get some sort of first round pick for Pirtle or J Rich or both of them in a package somewhere? Probably, but I think in a sense of them just trying to find a good asset back for J Rich and Pirtle because they want to be the worst team in the league next year. I think Luke can do that. I tweeted out that he needs to learn how to play defense, and although he's a very bad defender, first off, there's nothing. I don't think he'll ever be a good defender, but there's nothing saying that he can not improve. And second off, he shot the highest percentage from 3 last year, and his ball handling capabilities have gotten better. His offhand floater has been pretty good, which I think is interesting. So maybe that's enough for the Spurs to give up 2 expirings. Now, they might not be a big fan of the contract, which is fair. So like I said, if you're a Spurs fan or even you're another fan and you think I'm kind of spewing here, that's fine. I just tried to think of something for the Clippers. And money doesn't really work in a lot of situations. So, but also for the Clippers, if they don't want to bring back Josh Richardson, which no disrespect, I was looking at like making a roster and finding a spot for guys is really hard because it's a really deep team. But if you were to tell me that I'm kind of spewing here, that's fine. But I think a roster looks a lot better with J. Rich and Pirtle. Now you've got, I think Reggie will start. Reggie, PG, Kawhi, Marcus Morris, and Pirtle, and then Wall, Norman, Batum, Rocco, Zubac. If any of those centers don't play in a playoff series, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think as of now, Pirtle is still a little bit better. Not by much, but I think he's a little better. And they don't have a backup center. They have like Moses Brown on a training camp deal. But for me, I think there might have one too many guys. You might have to cut someone. I'm not sure. But then you've got, just as your 11th, 12th, and 13th is Terrence Mann, Josh Richardson, and Amir Coffey. To me, that's really fire. So like I said, for this trade, I'm not super, I don't feel great about it. But I think there is an avenue for both teams to make the trade. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, I hope the video isn't super laggy because I'm switching through a lot of tabs. But I am going to upgrade my recording software soon. But other than that, I hope you guys did enjoy. And I'll see y'all tomorrow for a Hornets video for the previewing and predicting series. And then I'm going to finally do my Pirtle Unlimited video because I find that very fun. But other than that, I hope you guys did enjoy. Like and subscribe. And if you, like I said, these are all opinion-based, but if you don't like any of these deals, please let me know because I'm interested. And I think a lot of them are kind of self-explanatory. But other than that, I hope you guys did enjoy. Like and subscribe if you please. And I'll see y'all tomorrow.